I'm Jason Bradford.
I'm Cher Miller.
And I'm Rob Dietz. Welcome to Crazy Town, where Amazon is having a 2-for-1 sale on scratch and sniff rubber dog poop. Oof.
This is producer Melody Travers. In this season of Crazy Town, Jason, Cher, and Rob are exploring the watershed moments in history that have led humanity into the cascading crises we face in the 21st century. Today's episode is about online shopping and how it has put consumerism into hyperdrive while undermining communities. The watershed moment took place in 1972. At the time, the estimated carbon dioxide concentration in the atmosphere was 326 parts per million, and the global human population was 3.85 billion.
Hey, Robin and Jason. Not feeling too up for doing this recording today. I'm not.
Whoa, what's going on, man?
Feeling stressed. I'm feeling, all this inflation stuff is getting to me. I'm looking at the
like your inflated ego or what?
No, that's we've already hit the peak of that. No, just worrying about the cost of everything.
Yeah, stuff's expensive.
Worried about how to make ends meet. I was talking to my wife about that. So I was looking for ideas of how to just generate a little bit of extra revenue.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking, I still got one kid who's still like kind of relatively cute.
Yeah. One of them.
Yeah, he's younger.
Yeah,
they don't listen to this, do they?
Hopefully not.
Thank God.
And I was just thinking, I don't know if you guys have heard about these unboxing videos.
They're great.
So it's just a way to make some money.
Yeah.
I could put them on camera.
God.
So wait,
just order some crap.
unboxing, like this is the opposite of boxing? Like it's MMA?
No, this is not like watching two people being peacefully together in space. No.
People not punching each other
You
in the
order
face.
some crap online.
Yes.
They probably give you money, to hawk their stuff. You pretend, ooh, I got this thing. And the kid opens it up and they're like all excited they got this thing.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking, this has got precedent. Like that kid, Ryan Kaji.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking about it.
I mean, you just need a fraction of his market, right? He started making money from ads on these unboxing videos. Yeah. He now has 32.5 million subscribers and is about 2,200 videos in his repertoire.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think a few years ago he made like $30 million in 1 year, right? Like when he was 8 years old.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for that much necessarily.
No, you just want a little piece of that pie.
Just a little bit.
Just get in, just a wedge.
Yeah.
Never have to worry about inflation again. We just inflate your bank account.
Exactly.
I mean, it's quite a treasure trove there to go through. My favorite are the videos where he's collecting his own collectibles. So he has a trademark line of toys, and
that's where a lot of his money comes from. Is actually like licensing his name like Trump does, basically.
Yes,
right?
yes,
yeah.
And
collecting his own collectible. That's the circular economy at work, right there.
It's perfect. He gets them from Target or Walmart, and buys 100 of his own things to get. Yeah.
Well, in the quote-unquote research for this opening bit here, you showed me a video, Jason, called Ryan Goes Camping with Daddy Pretend Play.
Yeah.
And it shows them outside in a sort of plasticky yellow tent on AstroTurf.
Yeah.
In the
That's
backyard.
The best kind of camping.
Yeah. Well, then he breaks out this plastic surprise cooler. And I say surprise because it's got all these little drawers with extra plastic stuff. And they pull out a plastic box and rip the plastic off. And it's a plastic juice box.
Yeah.
You know what? He would have been a great spokesperson for Sugar Bowl. Do you remember our
Sugar Bowl ad?
Yeah.
Perfect.
I mean, you did a pretty good job, Jason, but he would have really sold it.
I'll tell you who doesn't do that good a job is Ryan's daddy and his acting. Talk about plastic. That is.
Hey, you can make fun of the dude, but he's got a lot more money in the bank than you do, buddy.
He's rolling on AstroTurf with a lot of greenbacks.
Okay, well let's take this accumulation of money and playing around on the internet back a few years. I want to take you guys back 50 years ago. So this is way before whatever Ryan's time on.
Yes, back when I I was wearing diapers, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this actually happened right around
Actually,
the
I
time.
wasn't born yet.
Yeah, I was, though. This happened right around when I was born at the Stanford Artificial Intelligence Laboratory, or SAIL for short.
Okay.
This is kind of a wonky place, as you might imagine. You had computer scientists and students all working together at Stanford and creating this hacker culture. Sort of anti-authoritarian. All the rooms are named after stuff from Lord of the Rings. You know, it's about as nerdy as it can get. Well, so the thing that happened in this SAIL place is basically the start of e-commerce or
Nice.
online shopping. So what these guys did, though, they arranged a purchase of marijuana with some students at MIT.
Across the country. How do they ship it? That's dangerous.
I don't know, but to me, it's awesome that basically the original instance of e-commerce was a drug deal.
That is good. That is good.
That's the origin of the dark web, right there.
Right?
Yeah, right. Well, okay, but how do you get this to the masses? Well, in 1984, okay, everyone had color TV, right? And the remote control had been really perfected by then. Because I remember when I was a kid,
You were the remote
I
control.
was the remote control.
Right.
I would get beer.
That's why people had kids.
Yeah, I would go get beer and I would change the channel. That was my relationship with my
you
father.
should not have been drinking beer at the age of 6.
No. We watched ball games. Okay,
Right.
I thought that was the greatest thing. Get me
Yeah.
a beer, change the channel. I was so happy.
You were so helpful.
Yeah, it was helpful. I had something to do. Anyhow, but by 1984, I'm out of work on that because they've got the remotes and everything. And-
Automation. You know,
Yeah.
this episode should maybe be about that instead of online shopping.
Right. But there's a 72-year-old grandmother in the United Kingdom named Jane Snowball. Great name.
Snowball.
Yes. Yeah.
She
Right.
started the snowball of e-commerce. Is that
Right.
what you're saying?
Well, there was a device called the Videotex, TEX, and she could order groceries through her television, by pointing the remote at it and selecting on the system. So that's pretty cool. She ordered margarine, eggs, and cornflakes from her local grocery store.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool. You know, they still have in Europe, as far as I know, they still have this system on your television where you could get like news, weather, whatever it is. I mean, I don't know if anyone bothers using it anymore, but that functionality, I think, still
Broadcast
exists.
television.
Can we just talk for a sec about how innocent that was, too?
Yeah.
Because I had read that there was the local town council
Yeah.
that wanted to help elderly people
Yeah.
who are kind of stuck at home be able to
good,
get the
right.
things they need.
Yeah.
That's still the spirit of online shopping.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Just ask
it's
Ryan.
embedded in the DNA of online shopping.
Yeah.
Well, let's fast forward it another 10 years, okay?
Okay.
You're going from 1984 to 1994.
Nice.
You know, the internet is really just, I would say, starting to take off.
Yeah, early
right?
browsers now.
Yeah, you got Netscape. Nobody knows. Actually,
Right.
maybe some of our listeners will know this stuff
Yeah.
because they're our age, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you had Netscape, you had AOL. People doing some stuff on the internet. There's a guy named Dan Cohn from New Hampshire, and he sold a copy of a CD of his, Sting. I guess he was done doing the tantric sex thing, and he didn't need to listen to it anymore. So he's like, I'm going to sell this, and he sold it to a friend of his, a guy named Phil Brandenburger, who lived in Philadelphia, via this new website he started called NetMarket. Okay, his friend paid him, I don't know, like $12 for the CD and shipping, and he sent his credit card number securely over the internet, which is
Wow.
a big part of this, right? Using data encryption software. And that event was covered actually in the New York Times. The article was called "Attention Shoppers, Internet is Open."
Wow.
And according to Lewis, it was the availability of that security that allowed e-commerce to really, these transactions to really happen, which makes a lot of sense, right? You don't want to give your credit card information
Right.
online and God knows what happens.
Right, right. Suddenly you're buying all of Ryan's outdoor camping supplies.
Right. God, useless. Do not go outdoors camping with any of Ryan's gear.
Yeah, for crying out loud,
It's the worst stuff.
Can't we just go camping?
I mean,
What happened to that?
he's in a backyard on AstroTurf.
No, you guys don't get this. He couldn't do that because he had to make another 17 videos that day.
That's
He
right.
can't go off on a trip. This
Yeah.
kid's got to work.
Yeah, you got to be within Wi-Fi range so you can put
Exactly.
stuff online. Okay, so we've gone from the watershed moment in 71 to 1984 to 1994. I think it's 1 year later that's kind of a banner year in the growth of online shopping. So in 1995, that's when you get the founding of Amazon and eBay, two of our cornerstone.
That's secondary to the fact that I met my wife in 1995. And Jerry Garcia, the late, great Jerry Garcia, died in 1995.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you just heard it for the first time.
No, I knew he was dead. I didn't remember the year.
Yeah, okay. Now back to our regularly scheduled program. So,
This isn't all about me? What are you talking about?
right.
Yeah.
So, of course, over time, this whole new industry has grown by leaps and bounds. I was able to find some stats that looked at the growth of online shopping from 2014 through to what it's expected to be this year in 2022. So in 2014, there was a $1.3 trillion of business done through online shopping, but it's been rising at an average of 20% a year since then. Wow. So talk about exponential growth. What's the doubling time on that, Jason?
Oh,
20% a year?
three and a
weeks.
half years.
yeah, tomorrow. Like three and a half years, right? Yeah, it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's supposed to be $5.5 trillion this year. And then worldwide, you've got over 2 billion online shoppers.
Well, there's almost 8 billion people, so there's a growth potential.
Yeah, you could get 3/4 more of the population buying shit online.
So we're talking about in less than 30 years, basically, this just explosion.
Yeah, I think one of the stats that I looked up that I think at least gives you a marker for the growth would be the stock price of Amazon.com. So if you were back in 1997, I think that was the year they went public, you could have bought a share of Amazon stock for $1.50.
I know. I should have bought 1,000 shares, shouldn't I?
Yeah, or even 10 for crying out loud. Because in 2021, it made it all the way up to $3,700 per share.
Yeah, but if I bought 1,000 shares, then I'd have $3.7 million.
Well, you'd have more than that because that stock split at several points in its history.
I could have done this if I had known.
Yeah.
Yeah, but,
I didn't buy Apple stock either.
By the time this comes out, I don't know where the stock's going to be, but it hasn't been doing that well recently.
All right. Well, this show is a little hard for me to do because I feel complicit. All right.
We are complicit.
Yes, I'm the voice of Alexa.
You are.
Yeah.
I had
then you
no
don't
idea.
need to do unboxing videos. You must have made a bunch
Oh,
of
my God, it's incredible. Yeah.
You don't sound quite like
They
Alexa
use
to me.
filters. Anyway,
Well, look,
I'm embarrassed.
all these stats and all this growth, that's fine. We can document that. But I think the interesting thing is to figure out what are the things, Sherry, you talked about the ability to have an online transaction with a credit card that's secure. Let's delve into these a bit. Like, what are the things that you need in order for this online shopping?
I can tell you what
I
can tell you what my favorite part is. This is the complicit part. Is the comparison shopping options where you like? I did binoculars recently. Okay, I'm admitting this. So it's complacency.
Complicititude.
Okay, thank you. Okay, all right. So it was so compliciousness for me that I found some binoculars with the right specs, and then it was like a compare button, and it pulled out other binoculars of similar specs, and I could like see the change of different prices, availability, features. That was sweet.
Yeah.
That wasn't invented. I mean, look, you could comparison shop before that.
Well,
right?
yeah.
Just go from one store to the other. In
Yeah,
town.
it was a pain in the ass.
I remember as a kid, my mom driving us around all over Atlanta. Like, seriously, we'd drive 50 miles so we could save 18 cents on a pack of balloons for a birthday party.
Is your family have like Dutch lineage or something? Because this is a thing that Dutch are actually known for and sort of laugh at themselves about. If there's a sale, like somewhere across the country, people get on the train to go get it.
Yeah.
Well, I think this got started, this comparison shopping, in 1995. So pretty quickly, they're like on it, right?
Yeah, that's that banner year.
And so one of the early ones was called Bargain Finder.
Yeah.
You could shop for music CDs, and it would go find all the music stores that had these, and then you'd have to go to that store independently, though. So they were just kind of assembling. Whereas now, of course, you just hit a button and
Yeah, but that's the big tech innovation there, right? Is that we're going to go out, look for you
Yeah.
at all the different stores,
Yeah, save you
compile
all
it
this
in
time.
one
Yeah.
website.
Yeah.
So you don't have to do that. That's called ShopBot.
Yeah, ShopBot. So there was like a bunch of these out. Killer App, Price Watch, My Simon. And,
These were all names I was thinking about
Yeah,
naming
yeah.
my son, but I
Yeah, yeah.
decided not to go with.
Yeah, well, I want to get back to another piece of infrastructure technology that you've already hinted at, Asher, and I mentioned again, is the security of online finance. And what I want to do here is bring up a regular character in Crazy Town, our good buddy Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Now, everybody knows that he made his money from Tesla and SpaceX, right? No. Wrong. He made his money in this area that we're talking about, among other things too.
Yeah.
But he was a founder of kind of an online banking company called X.com. Now, at the same time,
He likes the letter X.
Yeah.
he does,
Apparently.
like Gen X, SpaceX, X.com. He likes X-rated movies.
We're going to get sued.
I guess not. He's worth too much money
We're
to
gonna get
fool
banned
with
from
him too
Twitter
much.
now.
Jeez.
Yeah, there goes my 2 Twitter followers.
He's a remarkable human being with a great heart.
So,
Melody, will you edit that part out?
So while he founded that company, another good Crazy Town villain, a guy by the name of Peter Thiel, founded a company called Confinity. And what ended up happening in the year 2000, Confinity and X.com merged and became PayPal.
Yeah, they're still around.
Yeah,
Still
well,
big.
Elon Musk became the CEO of PayPal, and then they ended up selling the company to eBay in 2002 for $1.5 billion. So, you think about Musk and Tesla. Nah, it was really PayPal.
All right, I gotta share some things about Peter Thiel for a second.
Oh.
One thing is I'm gonna give the guy a compliment. Okay, so at the time when they sold to eBay, they were gonna go public instead. So they were gonna have an IPO, and their valuation was gonna be much higher, basically, than I think they wound up getting from eBay for being sold. But Thiel was prescient and saw the dot-com bust coming. And this is sort of the first iteration of a boom and bust cycle in the internet.
I think it was busting by 2002.
This is probably when it was closed.
Yeah.
This date that
Okay, I
Rob
see,
shared,
I
right?
see.
So, and he had to kind of I think fight with the other folks in the company to sort of convince them we got to take this money.
I mean, everybody wants an IPO, right?
But think about that. If they hadn't done that, right, and they had gone public and then their shares cratered, I mean, would we have Elon Musk?
All the wonderful things we have now.
No, we would have a utopian society
Right.
that was sustainable and equitable.
The other thing I wanted to say about
it.
Peter Thiel is I've spent some time with the guy a few times.
Oh, did you do backyard camping on some AstroTurf?
Yes, that's
Yeah,
exactly
right.
what I did. No, I actually have had dinner at his house, met him at his office.
Yeah, Jason, what do you think? I mean, our friend here with the consorting with billionaires.
No, coming clean, PCI has actually gotten funding from Thiel. We got a grant from him once.
Okay.
And the reason is, and this is why this guy is, to me, a very fascinating character, who I'm not a fan of, is that he was very peak oil, not even aware, I would say incredibly knowledgeable.
Yeah.
And in fact, his investment strategy, at least as he communicated it, his whole sort of worldview was really built around understanding the role that energy played in societies. Got to know him because his right-hand guy was somebody who was really into this, and he was actually working on a book looking at World War I and the role that peak coal played in that for the UK.
Yeah, so just go down the authoritarian track there.
Right. Well, that was how the connection was made, and he actually gave us some funding to support
Yeah.
our work with David Hughes on looking at fracking production.
Well,
so
I know-
sometimes strange bedfellows.
Yeah.
I know that he stopped giving us funding because you refused to let him sell us to eBay.
Right. That's the reason. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that I look for, okay, when I'm daily doing my online shopping is customer reviews and ratings. And this is a big deal, right? We're looking for those 4.5 to 5-star products and services, aren't we?
I mean, this is why we have so many listeners to our podcast.
Yes.
Is people looking
we're
at
asking
the ratings.
we're asking people to do this. We're complicit, is what I'm saying.
Yes.
We're complicit.
Well, and you don't really think of this as a technology, but it really is. Like 1999, prior to that, basically this This wasn't
This
a
wasn't
thing.
a
I mean,
big thing.
there were Siskel and Ebert movie reviews. You
Right.
know, they would give you 4 stars on your movie.
But to have public, like the actual, verified user kind of thing. You
Well,
know?
even before it was verified users, right? I mean,
Right.
It's,
There are problems.
yeah, but it's actually interesting because you're talking about movie reviews. That's like going to somebody who maybe went to film school and like
Yeah.
has studied film, and you're like, oh, this is an expert opinion. I'm going to listen to their opinion. And now it's like basically 10,000 yahoos who are as dumb as you are,
Right.
saying, I like this. Or
I
don't like
love
this."
the American Pie videos,
Exactly.
movies. They're fantastic. They're the greatest thing I've seen since I
classic.
was in high school.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the wild thing to me is that the companies that did this, like a famous one at the time was called ePinions.
That's a great name.
Yeah, it's a terrible name.
It's great.
It's a terrible
Opinions.
name.
It's fantastic.
But they didn't buy, sell, process. They didn't do anything other than collect people's ideas about products. And then if they could convince someone to click a button and go buy something, they'd get a little commission from the company whose website they went to.
Rob, I just had you got to tell me the name of the character again.
Yeah, Lloyd Dobler.
Thank you. You knew exactly what I was thinking.
Of course.
I don't want to work anywhere where I have to buy anything or sell
Yeah.
anything. Or
Yeah, I had a whole Lloyd Dobler theory in a previous episode.
Well, I mean, one of the dominant ones now is Yelp, and that's interesting because it's about services, not just products, right? So actually, there was a guy who was trying to find a local doctor. The guy started Yelp, and so
is that why it's called Yelp?
yeah, right. Yelp. Anyway, so he created a website.
We got sound effects in this podcast now.
And now, of course, we've got, Amazon does this, Google does this, Facebook does this, TripAdvisor does this. So
Look, I'll be honest. That's what I look
Yeah.
for. I go right to the reviews and
Yeah.
the ratings. I mean, it's
Yeah.
absolutely a huge factor. And when I go to like an actual local grocery store, I'm like lost. I'm like,
Right.
who's here to tell me
what to buy?
which of these to buy?
yeah,
Right.
Which potato chip?
I'm just grabbing people. Like, which one do you think?
Right, right. Opinion poll in the store.
And with COVID, it's not working very well.
No.
Oh man, this stuff just gets more and more nefarious as you look at different technologies. So, adding on to the ratings and reviews, you've also got the development in 1999 of the wish list.
That's my favorite.
So this works like a wedding registry where
Yes.
you make a list of what you want, and then that's apparently telling your friends and family the actual things to buy for you, which seems a little bit forward.
It's the only reason I got married. It was
Yeah.
I wanted to have a
Oh,
wish
yeah.
list at
Bed Bath & Beyond? Or
Pottery Barn.
Pottery Barn.
Crate
Come on.
and Barrel
Yeah,
was
yeah,
actually an early purveyor
genius.
of this technology. But what's really insidious is that you are directly telling the retailer what products you're interested in. So, of course, that opens you up to this barrage of targeted advertising. But even worse is that you are giving these companies useful data about you and your preferences. Our researcher extraordinaire, Alana, she found this article on this terribly named website called Big Commerce that offers tips to e-commerce providers once you've submitted a wish list. So, Jason, let's say you make a wish list. It's got binoculars on it. It's
Yep.
got a plastic hidden drawer cooler
Yep.
and
Everything
a set of AstroTurf for your
Okay.
front yard.
Sure.
Now, this Big Commerce is telling e-commerce sites how to hook you.
Right, because it's on a wish list, but I haven't bought it yet.
Yeah, so they say do stuff like send Jason a price drop alert, or let's create urgency by telling him, our AstroTurf supply is running low, hurry
Right.
up.
Right.
Oh, it's horrendous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's worth talking about some of the infrastructure that makes all this possible. I mean,
Electricity?
well, sure.
Okay.
A human brain.
A lot of this stuff really is about effectively big data, being able to collect data on people in the case of ratings and reviews. And we didn't really talk about the whole thing around people like you like this shit.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Which I think was a really, really instrumental and influential thing. You know, you go on Amazon and you see what other people like you have bought.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get to that.
Yeah,
'cause
so-
that's a huge
A lot of that just has to do with just the ability to collect all this data. But there's other infrastructure I think that's worth really talking about. And I'm a little bit familiar with some of this stuff just because my dad, who worked at Intel for a long time and was sort of very involved in Intel's growth strategy stuff. He helped start their venture capital fund, and they were
As like a
investing in lot of
computer chip
businesses.
company, not like the NSA.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
Just making sure.
Computer chip company.
He's probably doing both,
Yeah.
though, really. I mean, let's get serious.
And part of his job was try to actually stoke demand so that
computer
people would
chips.
buy, because Intel was putting out computer chips that are twice as fast every 2 years.
Yeah.
So
Moore's
you needed
law.
to get people to have a need for that faster computation. So it's about basically creating more demand for it, but also creating the infrastructure that supported people to be on their computers.
So basically, what you're trying to say is that
I blame my dad.
the porn industry moving online probably created the demand for faster computers.
Well, I think the porn industry has been innovative in a lot of areas around the internet. I mean, I think that's no joke. But a big thing was actually just being able to go from dial-up modems at home to higher speed cable internet. And it was a big deal because, do you remember like the very beginning of the internet? You got your first email account or whatever.
Right.
Maybe you were at our age, you were at a university or something like that. Or for most people, they were working at a job and they got an email account at their job.
Yeah.
And computers were actually at work. And sometimes people would stay late.
Yeah,
you know?
I can't remember when I finally had it at home because I was at the university or at the
Right.
research institute, and you got this fast T1 connection or
Right.
whatever.
So that was the thing. The infrastructure existed for you to get faster speed connectivity
Right.
at a large institution or whatever,
Yeah.
a company, a university or whatever. And people would actually stay late at work to
Right.
do whatever nascent form of online shopping there was or
Right.
reading stuff or whatever. It wasn't until you went from dial-up to DSL stuff that people could really do
Yeah.
a lot of entertainment at home on their own personal computer. And it's like, if that didn't exist, we talk about this a lot with the Marvin Harris cultural materialism stuff. If that infrastructure didn't exist, none of this other stuff would
and
have
it seems
happened.
like that was early 2000s where the transition happened to be more at a lot of home availability.
Well, it was in the
cable.
90s, really. But we don't see this behind the scenes, but there's a lot of stuff that happens. There was a big push to actually make televisions. You talked about this earlier, Jason. To do online stuff on your TV was where most companies thought things were going to go. It took a long time for them to realize it was actually going to be the personal computer, and then, of course, those mobile
phone.
devices.
Yeah. No, I think it's a really good point to share. And there's plenty of other infrastructure and technology that came along that supports this whole culture of online shopping.
Yeah.
You got stuff like warehousing. You've got the delivery companies.
Yeah, FedEx is incredible, right?
Yeah, like FedEx was kind of a new company when we were kids. Now you got Amazon competing with them for delivery. You have all this just-in-time shipping and the trucks being warehouses on wheels that Walmart does. You got other online consumption stuff, like the higher speed stuff has allowed for streaming video.
Right.
Think about how much consumption of online video is done, especially in the pandemic years.
I mean, I'm just addicted to the unboxing stuff, right? I mean,
Right.
That's a discovery. It's amazing.
Well,
Wait until the metaverse, buddy. Unboxing in the metaverse? Wow.
well, and one of the things that's really noticeable is all of these technologies and all this infrastructure. If you were going to say one company embodies it, it's got to be Amazon. I mean, they sort of.
They can do all of it.
Yeah, they're in all aspects of it. And we're going to hit on
Thank
Amazon.
God, because it just makes it so much easier that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. Well, we should talk about why this even is a watershed. Why do we pick this as a watershed moment topic?
The marijuana sale across the
Yeah,
country.
exactly.
Yeah, okay.
That moment,
Yeah.
why was that so pivotal in the long arc of
It's
us arriving in
because
Crazy
people
Town?
started smoking so much, they got hungry, the snack food industry went crazy.
That was it. Yeah.
Done.
Story over. No, I mean, obviously, a big part of this has to do with modern capitalism, late stage sort of capitalism, consumerist society, a consumerist economy, and how much that online shopping has served to just ramp that way up.
Yeah.
And you think about the ability for online shopping to, in a sense, just take away all of the obstacles from being a consumer.
I mean, I do not like getting in my car, driving someplace, and going into a store. I honestly don't like it.
Right. Now, some of it is like just ease.
Yeah.
Right? Some of it is actually just the manipulation. We talked about this with our advertising episode that we did. Just the ability to manipulate, understand the psychology of the human mind. But you couple that with all the technology and then the sort of the ease of use. You add these wish lists in, make it really easy for people like just to save their
credit card
information.
Oh, yeah,
It's just
fantastic.
a one-click thing.
Yeah,
do you know what
fantastic.
I mean?
Hell, you don't even have to click, right? You can just tell it.
You just
now.
blink. Yeah, exactly. you could tell it now. Then they did things like, this stuff is so. It seems on the surface of it like, oh, we just care about the consumer, or we're just trying to make it easier for the consumer. All the benefits you get for the shit, it's just so fucking nefarious.
There
Like
you go. I was waiting
Yeah.
for you to drop your first F-bomb. You were
that
so
the first one?
close,
Okay.
and then
Here's the F-bomb, free, right? So like free shipping,
Yeah.
free returns,
Yeah.
you know, like just again, removing all these barriers and it's
Best things
supposedly
in
like,
life, baby.
we just make your experience so much easier. But what it really means is that you're just going to buy more shit. If you spend $50, you'll get free shipping. Or if you get Amazon Prime, here I am marketing for them, they should pay us.
Yes.
You know, then you never have to pay for
well,
shipping.
except I bet you the average Amazon Prime subscriber would pay a lot less than that subscription fee in their actual shipping fees if they just didn't have Prime. So screw you, Bezos and Amazon.
Well, then Alexa's my favorite. You had a story about Alexa that accidentally made people like buy stuff for, what was that again?
Yeah, I think I maybe I mentioned it
It's
on
worth
the podcast.
saying again. It's so good.
Well, so there was this story of this girl who ordered like a dollhouse on Alexa, right? Because, you know, Alexa's fucking listening to you all the time.
Yes.
And
I am.
she's like, Alexa, I want a dollhouse. You know? This is exactly what she sounds like, I'm sure. And then a couple days later, all of a sudden, boom, this like $150 dollhouse shows up at the house.
Right.
I don't know if that's exactly
yeah.
how much it cost. And I think a local news station heard this story.
Right.
And they're like, oh, that's a funny story. So they went and visited the family, and the quote unquote journalist, the local media person, was like talking, interviewing family, and she's like kind of recreates the scene of
Yeah.
Alexa, you know, order this. And all these people watching the local news
Yeah.
with their own Alexas
In the background.
hear this woman talking through their television set, Alexa, order this, and their Alexas order that product.
I love it.
Yeah.
Which is
That's
it's
genius.
just beautiful. It's
It's
just
the
beautiful.
best. It's the best.
Go back to our episode on positive feedback loops. You got
It's-
one going there.
It's like quintessential modern U.S.
We should repeat
economy.
this story every season at least once.
Yeah. So yeah, the whole idea of ramping up consumerism and modern capitalism that goes with the growth of online shopping is big. But I want to get on to another topic that you alluded to a little bit before, Asher, and that's this whole what I think of as abuse of our personal data. So with online shopping came this technology, right, of recommendation engines and suggestion algorithms. You can go back again to Amazon in 1998. They came up with this idea for a book matcher where it would, you know, based on what you browse and purchase, they could recommend books. And that thing morphed into something called instant recommendations, which of course went to all products. And the programmer who helped build this is a guy named Greg Linden. And it was really innocent at first, as it always is, right? He said something like, we enjoyed helping people discover books that they probably wouldn't have found, and it was not about marketing. We just wanted people to find books they would love. You know, it's kind of nice.
Yeah.
But then he's like, yeah, but it turns out that people do buy more when you help them find things that they like.
Oh, totally, dude. I ordered a simple order, a broadsword and a chainmail.
Uh-huh.
And the next thing I know, I'm just down this rabbit hole and a trebuchet is showing up at the house. Oh my God, Kristen was upset.
Was she?
Oh, it was
How many trucks did it take to deliver that?
Oh, it was just one flatbed, but I mean, a trebuchet, I had to admit, it was a little over the top.
Yeah.
But unboxing that was fun as hell.
There must have been quite a bit of plastic packaging that came with that.
Oh, no, cardboard and straw.
Oh, nice.
So I'm gonna bring us back in again just for a moment. Get off the trebuchet arc here. What's crazy about this stuff, though, is the high technology that's behind it. It's not just like, okay, Jason, you ordered a broadsword, therefore you want a trebuchet. It's more like, what did that guy who shares some personality traits with Jason order?
Yeah.
You know, and it's like it compiles all this stuff.
A long bow.
You know, you got things like collaborative filers and fuzzy logic and real-time engines behind all this. And suddenly, yeah, you've just got this thing that's telling you what you need to buy and hitting you with it all the time.
Well, and I mean, they're pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Netflix uses this. They use it for like movie recommendations. And if it wasn't accurate, it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
You know what's
So
really
what
sad?
makes it accurate? The fact that they're collecting all this data about all these people, and they could splice us up to all these little parts and mash them together and say, you're like this person.
You know what's really sad, though, is that I'm now being sold products and advertised based on our Crazy Town season.
Oh, yeah.
I am not
It's
kidding.
fantastic.
Because it's what I've surfed and it's what I've talked about. So,
Right.
like, my latest one is I'm getting ads for some outfits that want to buy used refrigerants. Like they want to get my Freon if I have any,
Yeah.
I guess, so they can burn some more holes.
You're
in
not
the
getting
ozone.
Joel Osteen
I
ads?
still get some Joel
Yeah.
Osteen inspiration.
I got some
cubes,
great.
thanks.
I got some great cheap tickets to the World's Fair in Dubai, ready to go. Well, you know, there was this frequently bought together thing can backfire because these are stupid AIs, really. They're just sort of following like some sort of algorithm. And so this team of investigators for a British television station found that Amazon's frequently bought together suggestions prompted customers to purchase a combination of items that can make a bomb.
Great.
Yeah.
That's outstanding.
I gotta say, just as a little aside, obviously they developed this technology in order to get people to buy shit. But it's also that same technology and that same approach has been applied on social media, for example. And,
Yeah.
and there's a dark side to that too. I mean, there's all these stories of when Facebook kind of changed their algorithm to really promote groups. They were really trying to get people to join groups online on Facebook. And what they did was, and there's an amazing story in New York Times of this woman who became a huge, actually sort of pseudo-celebrity in the QAnon space, who actually was a woman who was like really into, she was like an anti-GMO activist. She was really concerned about industrial ag and pollution, these kinds of things. And when Facebook was making this big push, they're like, you might like this group, which was a QAnon group, because
Right.
she was outside of the norm.
Right.
They're like, she must like this shit too.
Right.
You know, she believes in the conspiracy theory that, you know, industrial ag is bad. Therefore, let's give her this conspiracy theory. You
Right.
know, that
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Well, we're
Adrenochrome.
We're kind of outside the norm too. Does that mean next season we're going to be promoting QAnon shit?
we're already doing
Come on, dude. It's in development. Don't. It's too early.
Don't spoil it.
All right. Well, I want to talk about the thing that really gets me pissed, or one of the things that really gets me pissed. And I'm just going to focus on Amazon again on this one. Okay, it's the whole impact of online shopping and big box stores as well on Main Street, on local economies, local communities. There's been great work being done on this. I highly recommend people check out the work of Stacy Mitchell at the Institute for Local Self-Reliance, for example, Michael Schuman and others who have done a lot of work looking at the impact of big box stores, large corporations, and online. Stacy's done a lot of work on Amazon, looking at the economic impacts on local communities, tax revenue to, you know, local businesses being shut down. So I don't want to necessarily get into that. I just want to talk about the fact that Amazon took years and years to become profitable.
Yes.
They started in 1995. It wasn't until the end of 2001 that they recorded their very first quarterly profit, right?
Wow.
So, and that was like a measly $5 million. In that 6-year period or whatever it was, they lost $3 billion, right?
Right.
They made $5 million in one quarter. It took them a while to actually become truly profitable.
Yeah, like have a net return.
And how did they do all that? They did that by basically undercutting. I mean, they undercut local booksellers first. They sort of cornered that market. Jeff Bezos started selling books out of his fucking garage or whatever his origin story is. You know? And then they slowly went and they started basically attacking all these other industries or these retail areas. And they would be happy to lose money. They still lose money on a lot of things, right? Because they're loss leaders for them. They lose money on this one thing, but they capture an audience, they can capture a market, and then they can ratchet up the costs. And that's what they did with book selling. You know, that's what they've done with a whole bunch of things.
Yeah.
And the only way that they could do that was they basically had the asset class, the moneyed class, whether it was venture capital or when they went public, people who were invested, could invest in the stock market, who could sort of ride this out. They didn't need an immediate dividend, you know, on this investment. They could lose money, you know, on this for a while because they had plenty of money to begin with. So they could just put out mom and pop businesses, basically undo the fabric of local economies.
Yeah.
And it was only because it was, in a sense, the rich getting richer. And that shit just, I gotta say, just drives me absolutely mad. And it led not only to the kind of the evisceration of local economies on some level, it led to the further outsourcing
Right.
of labor and production of things, and more cheap crap being made in other parts of the world and shipping it from far away and all that stuff.
Well, I think we should keep this thread going and see if we can make you really lose your shit a share. Because you're talking about the rich getting richer. Well, this whole rise of online shopping also really helped with the rise of oligarchs. It's the billionaires and the inequality. You know, you talked about Jeff Bezos and how he managed to get the billions that he's got. We've also already mentioned Elon Musk and Peter Thiel. There are others too, Colin Jing Huang, Jack Ma, Wang Jing, you know, all these guys that have, I mean, let's be honest, like as predators, sucked away all of this money that they could never spend in dozens of lifetimes.
So you just mentioned a bunch of folks I think were probably from China, which is, of course, has Alibaba.
Yeah, Pinduoduo, Meituan, Dianping, JD. Yeah, there's all these companies
I've
that are
never heard of much.
but they're like the Amazons of China.
Uh-huh.
But
Yeah.
I think there's a little subtlety there that we need to look at, which is, I think some people would argue, look, these guys created new industries. They created a lot of jobs. I mean, Amazon is one of the biggest employers in the country, in the United States. They've provided all these benefits to consumers by lowering prices. You know, like these are the sort of pro arguments for what these guys have done. Of course, and when you look at the world through our lens, you see, well, that's eviscerated the fabric of local communities, the resilience of not only local communities, but our nation. Look at all the outsourcing.
Oh, the political disruption it's caused.
The supply chain breakdowns, issues that we've had, these have all kind of resulted from all this stuff, and not to mention all the environmental consequences, the issues in terms of labor practices and all that stuff. So you could call it a net positive. Some people might. I think we would probably not see it that way.
And the pandemic basically fed into all this too. So you have this infrastructure in place, so you don't have to go out your door, and anything you could possibly desire just shows up in a package. And consumers now spend an average, this is American consumers, I believe, 6.7 billion online each month for groceries, which is up from the 3.1 billion they spent pre-pandemic.
Yeah, well, back in 2019, I remember spending only $2.8 billion on my grocery bill.
Right.
And now,
now it's almost seven. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
But that's just groceries. It's true. I mean, I think the pandemic has changed a lot of people's behavior. And Amazon, for example, made huge, enormous profits during the pandemic because people were shopping from home. I'm sure a lot of our listeners have seen this growth of Amazon trucks everywhere,
it's incredible.
right?
Fleets.
Like even here, I know that there was a shortage of bus drivers
for what?
For school, because people are getting hired instead to be drivers for.
Well, the school is
Amazon
like
fleet.
saying, like, sorry, no kids are coming in.
Yeah.
So they're like out of work. So what else are they going to do?
No, but even when the kids went back to school,
Then they couldn't get them back.
They couldn't bus the kids. There were some days where like kids were just waiting out. My son was waiting outside.
Have the Amazon truck take your kid to school.
Package them up,
yeah,
just
they're going
wrap them
by
and
that
sell
way
them.
anyway.
Put them in plastic wrap and
Yeah.
boxes,
Yeah.
deliver them to their classroom.
If you wrap them enough, you don't even need to slow down. Just toss them out the
Yeah,
back.
I mean, you could help load and unload on the way.
Yeah.
Well, you just glossed over another topic that we have to hit at least a little bit, and that's how much all this online shopping has ramped up waste and pollution. I mean, the rise of Amazon.com is directly correlated to the fall of the Amazon rainforest. You know? I mean, it's...
We did a bit once, I think, on our show about like products that were named after the things that they were destroying.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is
Like the Denali and whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just think about as you ramp up all of that buying and delivering and throwing away your cheap, crappy, meant to fail products, the waste streams are just incredible. There was a study by a group called Oceana that found that Amazon generated 465 million pounds of plastic packaging waste in 2019.
It's not like plastic weighs that much, that plastic packaging.
Yeah. And
That's a lot.
of the 465 million pounds, 398 actually ended up choking marine mammals. All of them. It was just right in their throats and their blowholes. They couldn't breathe. It was terrible. One of these stats is brought to you by Amazon.
Oh, that actually kind of hurts to laugh at, I gotta say. On the waste side, I think that maybe there's some public consciousness about this. I don't know, but it was surprising to me to learn about this because I'm not a big fashionista. I don't know if you guys have...
What?
I know. You see me.
Wait
on
a
regular
sec.
basis.
You are the only one of the three of us who isn't wearing a hoodie right now. So I think that puts you
And I'm the only one who's wearing pants, too.
Yeah.
Our audience doesn't need to know that. But
I got lederhosen. Come on.
I'm not a big fashionista, so this is kind of surprising to me. But, it's estimated that the number of garments that are produced each year has more than doubled since 2000.
And the population has only gone from 6.1 billion to 7.8.
Yeah, only. We've only added.
We haven't
like
doubled
a
the
couple
population.
billion.
But a lot of this, I don't know exactly what the percentage is, does have to do with, we talked about ease of use stuff before, right? Saving your credit card information, free shipping, all the things that they do to make it easier. One of the really evil, sick fucking things that they do under the guise of like, hey, this is so nice for you, is free returns. You can return your stuff if it doesn't fit.
Of course.
And they give you all the stuff that you need in order to do the return.
Yeah, makes
so
it easy.
a lot of people, there was a survey done of American shoppers, and more than half of them basically said, when they order clothes, they order multiple sizes to see what fits. You can understand from the perspective of a consumer why that would be convenient. And they're not going to a store. I mean, you go to the store, you try on three freaking sizes. It's right there.
It's so much fun.
Right, but now you got to get it sent to you, and then you're like, two of these three don't work. You send them back. Well, people maybe assume, that just goes back on the virtual shelf. It doesn't. A lot of the stuff just goes right into the waste stream.
Into that whale's blowhole.
Exactly. And only 15% of textiles are recycled. A lot more of it could be recyclable. And the other thing about garments is that the rise of polyester, which is mind-boggling if you actually look at the stats. It's insane, right?
Yeah.
I thought polyester, that's like something some 70s dude wears with his medallions. But no, polyester is like...
John Travolta, the pants.
Fucking everything now, man.
It is, yes.
It's in your jeans that you think are cotton. They weave it in because it's so cheap.
I miss the old
durable.
501s. They started out as
But
cardboard.
they're scratchy, dude.
Yeah,
Now it's nice and soft and stretchy.
But it took you 2 years to break them in.
The really good jeans are also laced with fentanyl these days.
We'll get there. I'm sure we'll get there.
I know. Now you put jeans on, and it's like, wow, these are just silky. It's nice.
Yeah, and you get that little contact high, like you're talking about, Rob.
Yeah, and the estrogen disruptors, shrink your testicles in half as soon as you put them on.
So
But
much
then they
more
don't fit
comfortable.
anymore.
Yeah. So, well, the other thing that's been going on, which is, fascinating and horrific, is the commercialization of the quote unquote sharing economy. Because a lot of you think, let's go back to the origin story, right? These guys, hippie anarchists and stuff, and they think they're going to change the world because we're going to connect the global mind, and with great information and great connectivity, we're
going to send some skunky marijuana 3,000 miles.
Yeah, but there's elements of this that are still around. There's like relics on the internet of this kind, like Wikipedia, kind of like, but other things get co-opted, of course. So couch surfing is a really good example of this. It was an incredibly successful travel social network. Mm-hmm. And in 1999, it was sort of invented by this guy from New Hampshire who just sort of hacked into some University of Iceland database and spammed a bunch of students at this university in Iceland. And within 24 hours, he had like 100 offers of like, yeah, you can stay at my place. I don't know if
Was
that's
that
nice.
an Icelandic accent?
I don't know. I tried to be like Thor.
Okay.
I don't know.
Try Bjork instead.
I can't do accents that well.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I get nervous every time Jason goes into some kind of voice.
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize to our vast Icelandic audience, of which there's only like 600,000.
Well, there were. Now we have 2 who weren't offended.
Yeah. So anyway, he had such a positive experience, people willing to let him sort of just hang out in their living room, that he started couchsurfing.com in 1999. And it was, a movement more than a business. They was trying to just sort of connect people in this wonderful way. And of course, Airbnb took off in in 2007. And
Sort of commercializes
and
that
then
whole
ended up
thing.
commercializing the whole thing. I mean, I'm saying it's all bad, but you see how it can get twisted, right? And now there's people complaining about Airbnb. Like, as an investor, you can buy a house, say, in Carmel, California for $3 million and rent it out for $10,000 every weekend.
Right.
So it kind of has taken over in many places.
Well, and you see the same thing happening in other areas too. Like Craigslist would be your sort of non-commercial, idealistic, quasi-socialist sort of enterprise to help people find stuff they need. And then eBay comes along and figures out how to monetize all this and make boatloads of money. And
right.
I don't know what to do with it. Like every time you have that, as you said, Jason, like sort of the high-minded, social good enterprise, along comes the predatory, money-making profit seeker to take away all the market share.
It just comes back to the systems. If we take a systems perspective on it, in some cases it may be altruistic, but then you have a situation where it's like you need to, if you're successful, you need to row that thing, right?
Yeah.
You need to support it. Then you have opportunities. People are throwing opportunities.
Yeah,
at
it's
you.
so tempting.
It's like hard to say no to.
You
those
can make
things.
billions if you just do this.
Yeah, and it's not to say that the internet is one big pile of dog shit. I mean, no, it's not. Postcarbon.org is on the internet.
It's a wonderful
right.
place.
So it's just
Postcarbon.org,
one little gem,
Well,
resilience.org.
yeah.
But
Are you saying that's like a piece of corn stuck in the giant internet?
that's not where I was thinking. But thanks for that visual, Rob. I really appreciate it. No, I'm just saying that there's just something about the good intentions. I think this is true generally with technology. It's like the intentions are usually good. They're usually there to try to solve a problem.
Yeah.
Seize an opportunity. The early days of the internet were, I think, really buoyed up by people who were idealists. And then lo and behold, capital gets involved and egos and the desire, the short-term interest that consumers have. You just put all this stuff together, and then what do you get? You get 8-year-old kids unboxing videos and making $30 million a year.
And all due to some guys that just wanted to score some weed. Okay, listeners, you have heard a lot from us, and if we haven't scared you away yet, you've got a chance to get a little more interactive with us. We're going to be staging one of our favorite events of the year, the Crazy Town Hall.
Is this like staging like the moon landing?
Kind of.
Okay, great. Well, the Crazy Town Hall is an interactive event that will take place on July 12th, 2022 at 10 a.m. U.S. Pacific time. And you get to be in an online conference with the three of us. And you can ask us questions. We're going to play fun games. We're going to get some insider dirt on the podcast. And maybe we'll laugh.
Twister, right? We're going to do Twister.
Okay.
Is that the game?
That'd be great.
Okay. Yeah, so the Crazy Town Hall, it's for real crazy townies, right? People who want to support the podcast. So if you'd like an invitation to the town hall, we're asking that you make a recurring monthly donation. It could be of any amount to the Post-Carbon Institute. If you're already a donor, we thank you so much for your support. You're going to automatically get an invite. And keep in mind, your donations help us with things like buying enough duct tape to repair our microphones.
That's important.
It is, but hell, if we get enough donations, maybe we can hire some decent hosts.
Oh my gosh. I would love that.
You would love it. Our listeners would love it.
I know.
Seriously, please join us at the Crazy Town Hall on July 12th, 2022. To sign up, go to postcarbon.org/crazytown. That's postcarbon.org/crazytown. Hope to see you there.
Every decision I've ever made in my entire life has been wrong. My life is the complete opposite of everything I want it to be.
If every instinct you have is wrong, then the opposite would have to be right.
So the easiest thing to say if you're going to start doing the opposite would be just don't buy shit online, but that's kind of tough. I think you could start a little less draconian than that, which would be just go for the more minimalist technology, the ones that don't have this predatory capitalist set of values behind them. So where they still exist, these are things like shopping on Craigslist instead of on Amazon. And you can tell these so easily because the websites look so simplistic and old school. Craigslist, there's nothing modern looking about that.
No, it's true.
Yeah, and even with going back to the sort of the Amazon story and its origin story about books, I mean, there are for-profit businesses that you could support that are better than others, right? So the alternative to buying your books on Amazon is to buy them on bookshop.org. They brought together a bunch of independent bookstores so you can support them.
Yeah, or Powell's for our region is
exactly.
Big independent bookstore.
Now, the other thing you could do is get rid of some of the temptations that exist that make it easy for you, that are constantly drilling shit in your head. So, get rid of Amazon Prime, Alexa.
I like to actually picture them as a drill now. Like Alexa is a drill that's drilling your head.
Yeah.
Makes it easier to get rid of that stuff.
Just so much of this is about the ease of shopping. And if we were trying to live more simply on this earth and to do it in better relationship with one another and the planet, it means maybe making it a little bit harder to do these consumeristic things. So take away some of those temptations that make it easy.
And cool side effect with that is less of your data will be compiled into this mysterious algorithm that will be then targeting you and people like you to buy more stuff.
Absolutely.
And if you still do have a downtown that has any local businesses, support them. Visit a coffee shop.
With actual walls.
I mean, it'd be great instead of not one of the things with disposable cups. It's like a little kiosk maybe, but go in and have a real mug, ceramic, warm your hands with it. Stroll down Main Street if it's called that still, if it's not been sold off by sponsors.
And you definitely want to get there before climate change burns the downtown.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, exactly. Support your local cobbler, bookbinder, and haberdasher.
Jason just went back to 1842.
Haberdasher.
Yeah. If you need your chainmail stitched back together, if you've been in any broadsword battles.
I don't think they stitch those together.
Or welded or whatever. I don't know.
Okay.
Visit your local blacksmith.
Your local blacksmith.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what amounts to a recurring theme to Crazy Town is see what you can do to just escape from consumerism generally. Like, be really intentional about what you buy and look for quality and the less of a need to buy so much crap. And if you need a dopamine kick, don't get it by just suddenly buying Ryan's AstroTurf camping experience. Instead, maybe go to the library, check out a book, maybe give somebody a gift, just so long as you don't frickin' purchase it from Amazon.
Okay, I agree with all of that, but can I just say, you could still go check out my son's unboxing videos because I need those clicks. I need that advertising.
Yeah, and make your trebuchet from local materials.
Welcome to Hypocrites Are Us.
Thanks for listening. We just gave you a whole bunch of do the opposite ideas so you can take action in your life and community. If that's too much at this time in your life, do something real simple. Give us a 5-star rating on Spotify or any other podcast app and hit the share button to let your friends know about Crazy Town.
Hey guys, our show today clearly explores how we can get all our needs met online. It's a fantastic world we live in.
That was the point of the show. Right?
Yeah. Open a browser, talk to Alexa. She's just sitting right next to you anyway.
That means talk to you, if I recall.
Yeah, that's right. Or more of us are going to be stepping into the metaverse, and it's all there for us all the time. No need to go anywhere, not even outside. Now, as humanity migrates fully into the virtual world, we do risk losing connection to our heritage in the universe. And that's why today's sponsor, the Universe Remembrance Foundation, wants to remind everyone about where we came from. Perhaps we don't want to completely forget about, the laws of thermodynamics and gravity, the smell of a wet dog in the rain, and the feeling of making love outside of a haptic suit. So I think these folks need support because the universe has been there for us for the last, 12 trillion years.
Your math is a little off.
Something like that.
The best part is if you want a membership,
14 billion years. It'll be with us for the next 12 trillion if we could remember it.
the best part is to get a membership to the foundation. We've got one-click ordering.
Oh.
You go in, you one-click, boom, and there's currently a 2-for-1 deal.
Oh, well, the Universe...
But it also comes free with your Amazon Prime subscription.
Oh, fantastic. Universe Remembrance Foundation, sponsored by Amazon.
Crazy Town. Da, 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 crazy Town.